Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope that you are having a great day, although I can see why some of us might not be having a great day. I am streaming this through a different machine than I'm used to, so things might not work out exactly the way that I'm used to. Let me know if the sound and the video is all okay, sounds great, looks great, all that stuff. And I'm just going to say hello to a few people who showed up super early in the chat, or into the stream that I didn't tell anybody about ahead of time. So thank you guys for showing up. It always kind of blows my mind when so many people show up to a stream that I never advertise ahead of time. I should learn from that though. Hello there to Sugar Rush and Mika Joa and no Appellation. Hello to Richard Racing Mad and Rowdy Roo and Rowdy Falcon. No relation. Let's see, we got Her is here, as well as Micah 4 verse 8 Migdalier. I don't know what that means. Tamales de Rajas. And anybody else who showed up early, I really do appreciate you guys. I hope you're having a great day. And let's see if you guys think that things sound and look okay here. It says we have alerts, Bill. It's gonna be okay. We have alerts, Bill? I don't know what that means. Now, just for anybody who like joined the stream but didn't notice, I currently have a poll running in chat. So if you are there in chat and you have not yet voted in the poll, the poll is basically, let me bring it up so I can see it. Will you buy a Steam machine at 1,050? And 34% have said yes, and 65% have, well, 35% had, okay, the numbers keep changing, so I'm just going to say the numbers that are on screen as I look at it. 34% have said yes, and 67% have said no. All right. You have alerts on, so you know when I post something, and then it shows up for you right away. Okay, good to know. We're gonna come back to the poll later on in the stream. Let's just talk about my first reaction to this. So I'm gonna bring up Valve's website here, and as we scroll down here, we got 4 options for the Steam machine. First off, all options of the Steam machine have the same stats, essentially, with a couple of exceptions for those of you who are not super familiar with that. And let me put this in Do Not Disturb mode. Actually, let me hide that for a second. I'm going to put this in Do Not Disturb so my notifications don't come through. All right, here we go. So it says here, the Steam machine has a semi-custom AMD Zen 4, 6 cores, 12 threads. And then the semi-custom AMD RDNA 3 20U CUs. It has 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM and 8 gigs of DDR6 VRAM. Then we have 512 gigs of storage. That's for the 1049 priced version. Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3, gigabit Ethernet, integrated Steam controller wireless adapter so that you would not need the puck, although you would still need the puck to charge it, so you'll probably use the puck anyway, because the puck is the easiest way to charge the Steam controller. It is a small form factor. It's a 6-inch cube, and it comes with SteamOS 3.8, I believe 8 is the one that it comes with. And that one, with 512 gigs of RAM, costs $1,049. Now, if I change that, that's without a controller. Okay, so if you buy the controller version, that boosts the price up to $1,128. If you decide, okay, I want to have the 2 terabyte version, that's going to increase your storage to 2 terabytes up from 512 gigabytes. and that is going to be $1,349. Again, pretty expensive. The one difference there is they did add in 2 face plates. They've got the red fabric face plate, although I've seen pictures of it. Doesn't look red to me. And then the solid walnut face plate, which I think that one looks awesome. And then there's the same exact version, except now it comes with a controller. So you can have everything, the whole bundle, for $1,428. That, I'm not going to lie, I think that is a ridiculously expensive price. But I also think that Valve really didn't have a choice. I really don't think that Valve had a choice here. When Valve announced the Steam machine, and by the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the open mic concept, I talk about something that I want to talk about for a little bit while you guys give me ideas for what to talk about. If you're thinking, how can I contribute to the show? Well, you can leave a super chat in the super chat feature down below. You don't have to, but that means that I absolutely will see your message with the super chats. Already there's 430 people here, so chat is going to scroll by pretty fast. It's going to be hard for me to see what you're saying. But you guys can leave a super chat, and then as long as it's appropriate for this channel, then we'll talk about your topic that you want me to discuss. This is something that I like to do more often these days, or I want to do more often these days, because it gives me a chance to talk to you guys, which I feel like that's not true. It gives you guys a chance to talk to me, which I feel like I am missing out on a lot of the time. I don't get to hear what you guys think about stuff. I just get to hear my own voice. So let me know what you guys want me to chat about. Use that super chat feature. It really does help out the channel, and it gives us topics to discuss. And we already had one super chat come in that we'll take a look at in a little bit. All right, so if I where was I? Oh, yes. Okay, so we've got all of these prices. So is this a price that I'm willing to pay? I think that's the first question that I want to talk about. And for me, I would say no. I would not want to pay $1,000 for this. Of course, that bear in mind that I also already have a PC that is more powerful than this and running Bazite, which is essentially SteamOS, and I could throw SteamOS on there at any time. I just don't feel the need to, because Bazite and SteamOS are so close together. All right. So I already have a PC that is more powerful than this. Really, the reason I wanted this is so that I could make content for you guys. But $1,000 is a big ask, and more than $1,000 is an even bigger ask. So the one thing that I would say is I don't see myself spending that much money on hardware that would get me this level of performance. And what level of performance is this? That we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I definitely want to talk about the performance. In fact, do not let me forget that I wanted to talk about performance before I start getting to what you guys were talking about. If we want to talk about performance, or no, not performance. Okay. So, $1,000, sorry, I got distracted. $1,000, $1,050. And then of course you have tax on top of that. So it's going to be a lot more. $1,050 for this doesn't seem like a good deal to me. Could Valve had made it cheaper? Honestly, I don't think that they could have. I think that they planned on making it cheaper months ago, 7 months ago when this unveiled. In fact, I went back and I looked at one of my old videos when it was announced. And we were talking about how much it was going to cost. And a lot of people, they were estimating somewhere around $500 to $600. Well, since then, the AI Rampocalypse has reared its ugly head and caused the price of everything with any kind of RAM or storage in it to absolutely skyrocket. Because those prices all went up so much, Valve didn't really have a choice here. Now, one thing that they could have done, what could Valve have done about the price? Well, number one, they could have taken a loss. We've seen console manufacturers take a loss on hardware that they are selling for decades. That's just been the normal thing that we would see, is that they, at the very beginning of the generation, they would sell things at a loss. They would make up some of that money on game sales, but as that generation went on, the price would continually go down to manufacture that. In fact, we would see like things like the PlayStation Slim or something like that, where they redo everything that they were doing, but they found a cheaper way to manufacture it and still get the same, basically the same system. And that was always cheaper to do. So then they would be able to keep the price basically the same and keep bringing in that money. And eventually it would equal out. Now, in more recent years, I think both Microsoft and Sony have said they haven't really been doing things at a loss for a while. So this generation, they basically stopped with things being at a loss at the beginning. But that is one thing that Valve could have done. Valve makes, for the amount of people that Valve employs, they make a shitload of money. They make a lot of money. And they could have subsidized this console, this system, by selling it at a cheaper price than they're actually manufacturing it for. There's obviously reasons why you don't want to do this. Number one, you're not going to make any money by doing it that way. However, in the console place, you make money on game sales. And somebody might say, well, Valve makes money on game sales. Yeah, they do. But let's think about who are the people who are most interested in a Steam machine. And I'm not saying that this is everybody that might have been interested in a Steam machine. I'm saying most people who are interested in a Steam machine. Who are those people? Generally, it's people who already have a foothold in the Steam ecosystem. They already have games that they've bought for Steam because they play them on their PC. And this was a secondary device, or possibly a tertiary device if they already had a Steam deck, that you could then hook up to your TV and play your games there. So now you have the ability to play your library on the big screen instead of being stuck at a desk like I am now. Does that make sense? And for those people, they're already buying games from Steam. And because they're already buying games from Steam, selling a Steam machine doesn't incentivize you to buy more games. That being said, I can't speak for everybody else out there, but I had a Steam account for a long time before the Steam Deck came out. And after the Steam Deck came out, I did start to buy more Steam games and less console games. So maybe that entire argument is moot, if that makes sense. Other things that they could have done in order to lower the price here. Well, obviously, selling at a loss, not something that Valve wanted to do. They already said that they weren't going to do that. But another way that they could have made the price lower, or maybe not make the price lower, but make it less painful, is to include like money in your Steam wallet. Like, hey, we're going to sell this to you, and with it, you're going to get this amount of money in your Steam wallet, whatever that amount may or may not be. That could have incentivized people to pick up a Steam machine and, use the Steam wallet money that they were getting as free money to build up their library. I think that could have helped a lot. I see people in chat talking about Half-Life. Including Half-Life absolutely would have been a huge deal. The fact that they didn't announce Half-Life today along with the Steam machine makes me think that it could be possible that either A, Half-Life 3 is not nearly as ready as we think it is, B, Half-Life 3 is not actually coming, or C, Half-Life 3 is actually a VR game, and like Half-Life Alyx was, and it's going to come with the Steam frame. All three of those things sound bad to me. Not that I don't want Half-Life 3 to be playable on VR. I just wanted it to be a flat game too. You know what I mean? So being able to lower the price is, you know, what else could they do to make this palatable? Well, one thing that I've been saying that the other big hardware manufacturers should do is I think that they should delay their hardware. I think that Microsoft should delay Project Helix. I think that PlayStation should delay the PlayStation 6. I think that they should take those things, put them back on the burner and start over and say, all right, well, we're going to make these things, but we're going to have them come out after this whole Rampocalypse settles things out. And that's not really an option for this because it is just a PC. And by having this thing be a PC, that means that they're basically going to have to take all of the R&D that went into making this thing and throw it away and start over. The same way that Project Helix and PlayStation 5 would have to do. The big difference is Project Helix and PlayStation 5, they don't have specs. Like right now, all we know is from leaks. We don't know anything for sure. Nothing that Microsoft has told us about Project Helix. Sony has not told us jack shit about PlayStation 5. While Valve unveiled the Steam machine and told us all of the hardware stuff that was going to be in there. And then they said, okay, then the AI Rampocalypse hit and they can't go back on that. The only option for them in that case would be to say, all right, well, because of the Rampocalypse, we're just going to have to say, nope, we're done and try it again later. And because they announced it when they were this close to the finish line, I feel like they just didn't have a choice. They had to release it. And by waiting any time at all, the thing that would happen is the price is just going to go up. And the longer that they wait, the more the price is going to go up. So I don't think that it was really a viable option for Valve to just not launch the Steam machine as soon as they possibly could. Some people might say maybe they should have waited, or not waited. Maybe they shouldn't have waited so long to launch the Steam machine. And when people say that, I would say, you know what? I don't think that was really an option either, because I think that Valve was doing just-in-time part acquisition. Basically, that means, okay, I got to build a Steam machine. We buy the parts, we put it together. And obviously, I'm simplifying it, and it's not that simple. But you buy the parts as you need them. Whereas I don't know what the opposite of just-in-time is, but the not just-in-time solution is you buy a shitload of the parts that you know that you're going to need. You buy them in such a large quantity that the people who are manufacturing that stuff, they say, oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you a deal because you're buying so much. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. When I have an advertiser that wants to advertise on the channel here, one of the things that I will say is, hey, if you buy multiple ads, I'll give you a deal, because I would rather sell a bunch of ads than having it come in one thing at a time. So I don't think that was that's not something that Valve was ready to do. And I think that because Valve, I mean, they don't know how many of these that they wanted to sell, and they don't plan on selling millions and millions and millions of these things. They couldn't make the orders big enough to get those discounts, and that drove the price up even more. So when you look at all of that stuff, could Valve have make this cheaper? And I would say today, probably not. I think their hands are probably tied, and there was nothing that they could do about this 1,050 price point. I don't think that there was anything that they could do about that. They were just stuck. And since they're stuck, and then they had already announced it, now they have to send it. They have to just send. Now let's talk about performance of this, okay? And this is one thing where I absolutely fault Valve. 100%. I absolutely fault Valve. And if you go back to the first episode of the podcast that came out after the Steam machine was announced, I said exactly, well, okay, I'm paraphrasing, but I said something along these lines. I said they should never have said that this was a 4K 60 machine, even with the little asterisk that says, hey, this thing is going to use FSR upscaling. Okay. There's no reason for them to have said that. They painted themselves into a corner, and I had seen it before. I saw it when Google Stadia, when whatever his name is, I can't remember his name, Phil something, got on stage. He had in giant letters behind him. He was standing up there and it said 4K 60 for Google Stadia. And you know what happened? Every single time that a game came out for Google Stadia, people would look at that game and they would try and figure out the resolution and the frame rate that it was running at. And if it wasn't running at 4K 60, then that's all anybody would talk about. Doom Eternal was running on Google Stadia at 1800p, 60 frames per second, and it was fine. It ran great. The latency was low. The game played great. The game looked awesome. It was a great experience. But what did everybody always talk about? They always talked about the lack of 4K. Valve should not have announced that this was a 4K 60 machine, because by all accounts, it is not a 4K 60 machine. It's really more along the lines of a 1440 or 1080p 60 machine. And that's perfectly fine. But as soon as you put a number and say, this is what you're going to experience, that's all that anybody talks about. And it's ridiculous to think that you're going to get those 4K 60 on all games. Now, of course, you're going to have some low spec games that are going to run absolutely fantastic on this. They're going to run at 4K 120. But when you get the new hotness, like when The Witcher 4 comes out and you buy it on your PC and then you go to play it on the Steam machine, it ain't going to play at 4K 60. Not a chance. I mean, we even saw like games like Doom, The Dark Ages was struggling to hit 60 frames per second if you're running at 4K. And I understand that you could just run it lower and hit that 60 frames per second mark, but Valve should never have said 4K 60. I think a combination of the price, which is absolutely not Valve's fault, and their marketing, which absolutely is Valve's fault, is what's really going to hurt this device. All right. While I've been talking for a while, I did get a super chat that came in. Your Excellence, and I can't find them in the chat. Let me scroll up and see if I can find them so I can put it on screen, because I did not, because I'm on a different machine than I'm used to. It kind of screwed this up, so I can't put it on screen, but you guys will just have to believe me that this was said. Your Excellence 7452 sent in a pound, I guess. It looks like that's a British thing. Super chat. Thank you very much for the support. They said, I like bad financial decisions. And you know what? I kind of like bad financial decisions too. They're always fun to make until after the fact. You know, you buy that thing, you're like, oh, it's so awesome. And then you kind of regret it later. Let me give you an example. When the PS5, or when Sony raised the prices of the PS5, the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro, they gave us a window of time before the prices went up. And I went to my wife and I said, babe, do you care if I buy a PS5 Pro before they get more expensive? I kind of wanted one anyway. I want it for Wolverine. I want it for GTA, even though I'm not super interested in GTA. I just don't want to miss out on it. I want to check it out. And I want it for the PlayStation exclusives that are definitely not coming to PC now. And being the awesome, ridiculously cool wife that she is, she said, go right ahead. And I said, thank you so much. So then I bought it and I brought it home and I was playing Marathon on it and I was having so much fun, but I haven't really been taking advantage of it. And so I kind of regret it for now. That said, I'm sure later on in the year when more exclusive PlayStation games come out that I can't play on other platforms, when I'll pick those up and I'll have a blast with it and I'll be okay with it. But right now I have a little bit of regret. So there's that. It Swerves says, Jesus Bill. I'm not Jesus Bill. I'm just Bill. I don't know who Jesus Bill is. They said, Jesus Bill, I saw the damage. Nobody's buying a Steam machine for 1,050. Thank God I have a PC at home. Yeah, well, I mean, not nobody. I mean, if you look at the poll that we have right now, we've got almost 1,000 votes in the poll, and 28% have said yes, they're going to be buying a Steam machine at 1,050 or more because there are more expensive versions. So I'm not going to say nobody, but the number of people who wanted one and are not going to get one, I think that that's going to be a big number, and I'm one of them. And by the way, for everybody wondering, Bill, do you have a Steam machine? No, I do not. And as far as I know, nobody on the podcast has one either. All right. The only people that I saw so far that have one, and I haven't had a chance to watch their videos yet, are actually, I didn't see if Dave 2D got one. I saw a Gamers Nexus video that I haven't watched yet, but I will be watching it, especially because I'm not going to be reviewing it because I don't have one. So I'll watch theirs. Typically, I like to not watch reviews of something that I'm going to review because I don't want to be influenced by what they're saying. I saw ETA Prime has one, and I saw that Linus Tech Tips has one. Those are the only 3 review videos that I've seen so far, but I was also working all day, so I probably missed out on some stuff. Duckhead Bob sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. They said, already have seen on my TV. It's, oh, I can click it here. Where is it? There we go. Already have Steam on my TV. It's a docked Steam Deck. And you know what? If you, depending on the games you're playing, you might be absolutely fine with that. Now, yes, the Steam machine is 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. So you're going to get a lot more, well, I almost said bang for your buck, but that's not true anymore. You're going to get a lot more performance when you are playing games on a Steam machine versus a Steam Deck. But if the games that you are playing run fine on a Steam Deck and you're just going to dock them to your TV, why upgrade? Why get a Steam machine if that's not something that you need? Excuse me. But yeah, let me scroll down. I saw another super chat just came in. This one came in from Clint Herman, and they said, at this point, build your own Steam machine and use SteamOS to save the extra money for buying more games. Okay, so I will say this, and thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Oh, and High Surf says that Dave 2D got one. Thanks. What I will say is, can you build a computer, you know, from parts that is the same performance as this for cheaper? Yes, you can. It's not going to be this small. It's not going to be this quiet. It's not going to be this polished, but yes, you can. Can you build a computer that costs this much and has better performance than the Steam Deck? Yes, you can. But again, it's not going to be as small. It's not going to be as polished. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be as quiet. So while, yes, you can beat the performance of this thing by just building your own, you're not going to beat that price by that much. Because the reason that this is expensive is because RAM and storage are really, really friggin' expensive. That doesn't change just because you're building a machine. If you look at historical prices, yes, absolutely. But the RAM prices and storage prices have gone up a stupid amount, an absolutely ridiculous amount. And because they've gone up so much, that's why this is expensive. So yes, you can build your own, but you will be missing out on some. Like, it's not going to be as good of an experience, but that's okay, because I have been gaming on my built machine, my Steam machine that I built for, I'm going to say since last summer, for almost a year at this point. I think it was about August when I built it. And holy cow, that thing is super awesome. I have so much fun. All of the games run great on it. And last summer when I built it, that system would have cost about $1,500 to build. What it would cost today, I don't know. I haven't done a parts checklist, but for the $1,500 last year, I'm going to smoke the Steam Deck easily. Or not Steam Deck, Steam Deck too, but Steam Machine easily. But I get what you're saying, Clint. As I scrolled through, I saw, here we go. It says, how much was that ROG NU NUC again? This is my new normal. Unfortunately, I believe they said they raised the price once before the end of the year. Okay, so what he's talking about, and thank you very much for the $10 super chat. That's really generous of you. Roadhouse, the NUC, when they initially reached out to me, and it's the device I'm using right now to stream to you guys, because I was running into an issue with streaming on my Mac. But when they reached out to me and they said, hey, do you want to take a look at this machine? I said, absolutely, I'll take a look at it. They said it was going to cost, their idea for how much it was going to cost would be about $2,500. And that's on the expensive side, but it's really, really small. It's really, really low profile. It's fairly quiet for what it is. And it's pretty powerful. And you cannot build what is that? Oh, cool. You cannot build a computer that is this size and this small for $2,500. It cannot be done. It's a 3-liter case. Most small cases are like 11 liters. This is a 3-liter case. It's a tiny, tiny little thing. Okay. You're not going to be able to build one of those on your own. So I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll check it out. Then I had finished my review. And I won't even say review. I finished because they weren't paying me, but they did give me a free machine. I finished my impressions on it, right? And I was actually close to posting it, and I got a message from my contact at ASUS, and they said, hey, Bill, sorry, we had to raise the price because of how expensive it is to build these things. Now, they didn't confirm this for me, but my understanding, or what's the word that I'm looking for? My supposition, I guess, was that because they make so few of these ROG NUCs, kind of like Valve makes very few Steam machines, because they make so few of these machines, they can't buy in bulk. And because they can't buy in bulk, they can't get the best deals for these parts. So when they bought the parts for this, it was really, really expensive. And they reached out and they were like, yeah, it's $4,000. And I was like, are you shitting me? $4,000? It's like, this is a great machine. It ain't $4,000 great. Well, maybe it is to you. I don't know. I can't make up the mind for everybody else. But to me, I wouldn't spend $4,000 on this. Quick update to that, though. About a few weeks ago, they reached out to me again and they said, hey, Bill, it's not $4,000. Now it's down to $2,800. I'm not sure what changed, but the price changed. And they just asked me to update like the blurb on my pinned text or pinned comment on my video for it. Huge thank you to Nutritious Doorway for becoming a member. I really do appreciate you. And we got this comment came in from Kadon Slayer. It says Steam Machine is a great 1440p machine due to retinal limit. I'm not sure what you mean by retinal limit. 1440p. Oh, I understand what you're saying. You're saying 1440p and 4K look almost identical from the couch. I agree with that. I do. And so playing it in 1440p would be the right move. And maybe if you're playing a low end game, you can easily hit 4K. But I agree with that 100%. I really do. I never put it on screen until just now. But I absolutely agree with that. So that's a really good point. Kevin Val says, I was waiting on the price, but now I know I'm not going to buy it. Maybe a new graphic card for my PC or some more RAM, but that's it. Yeah, I think that you're in the same place that a lot of people are. Real quick, I'm checking in on the poll currently going on. It says, will you buy a Steam machine at 1050? And 29% said yes, 71% said no, with roughly 1,100 votes. So make sure you guys keep voting in that poll, and we'll talk about it something. Let's see what else everybody is saying. Black Zinfandel said, most of y'all were saying for weeks it was DOA anyway, so why do you care about the price? You know, that's a really good point. I mean, I was never somebody who said it was DOA. Let's talk about that idea of DOA real quick. This is something that I feel like is said mostly by people who are mostly console players, and they don't understand that the benefit of the Steam machine is the fact that it has your Steam library on it. Yeah, could you buy a PlayStation 5 Pro for less than you can a Steam machine? Yup, but then you can only buy your games from PlayStation, and you have to pay a subscription to Sony if you want to play games online. And don't even get me started about Halo Campaign Infinite split screen multiplayer on PlayStation, because Jesus, that's ridiculous. But anyway, a lot of people continually say that this is DOA. Here's the thing about the Steam machine. Am I going to buy one at this price? No, absolutely not. Maybe you are. Let's imagine that you are buying a Steam machine at $1,050, or maybe you're going for the 2 terabyte with the controller model for $1,428. Maybe that's you. Well, guess what? You buy it. Your games are going to play on it just fine. If I don't buy it, if nobody but you buys it, if Valve sells just one Steam machine, then for that person, it's an awesome system. Why? Because the games are not going to stop coming out on PC just because this isn't a success. It doesn't matter how many it sells. This is different than a console. Let me give you an example. The Nintendo Wii U, which was a massive, ridiculous failure. All right. The Nintendo Wii U sold 14.7 million units worldwide, lifetime sales. That is an abysmal sell-through rate for a console. And the Nintendo Wii U, because the Wii was so popular, had a ridiculous launch lineup. There were so many games that were available on the Nintendo Wii U at launch. However, because Nintendo screwed up the marketing horribly, the Nintendo Wii U did not end up selling super well. And because it didn't end up selling super well, the developers stopped making third-party games for it. And that created a continuous feedback loop of, oh, the developers aren't making this game for the Wii U. I will like this game, so I'm not going to get a Wii U. Oh, they're not buying a Wii U, so we're not going to make games for it. And so both ends started making the Wii U just a bad choice to buy, even though it was an awesome system. I am a huge fan of the Wii U. It was a great system, but it was incredibly flawed in the marketing. And because of that, the Wii U failed. And it was DOA, dead on arrival, because it just didn't sell very well. And because it didn't sell very well, no games came out for it. And because no games came out for it, then it's a brick sitting under your TV, which sucks. The Steam machine plays PC games. No matter what happens with the Steam machine, it is going to have games for it. So it doesn't matter how well it sells. It will never be DOA. Will it be popular? Probably not. But I always thought it was going to be niche anyway. I know that there's people that watch my stuff and they think that it's going to be something that's going to make everybody go out and buy one, but that was never going to be the case, at least in my opinion. So for the people who constantly say that the Steam machine is DOA, they don't understand how these things work, and they're showing their ignorance. That said, is it DOA for you? Does this price mean that you're not going to buy it? Yeah, and it also means I'm not going to buy it because I don't think I can justify to my wife $1,000 for something that is less powerful than the computer that I already have, even if it would bring in money because I could make videos about it. You know what I mean? All right, scrolling through chat some more. Tom's says something really important. They said total cost of ownership. Shout out to anyone who got a PS5 at launch. Best $500 ever spent right there, especially with this gen going on forever. That total cost of ownership is really important though, because for each year, if you want to play any games online, maybe you don't play games online and that's fine. But for any games that are played online, every single year that you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, your price goes up because you're paying more every single year for your subscription. With the Steam machine, there is no subscription. So as time goes on, the PlayStation and the Steam machine will get closer together in total cost. Is it ever going to equal out? I don't know. I think the only way that that's going to happen is if the AI bubble bursts and RAM prices and storage prices finally fall down, and then Valve is able to lower the price. And look, I always get people that are like, oh, you always say how wonderful Valve is, how great Valve is, that's the best, and they can do no wrong. Listen, when Valve screws up, I say so. When Valve does good things, I say so. I just happen to think that they do good things more often than they do bad things, if that makes sense. But, I always call out companies when they do shitty things. Okay. So will Valve ever lower the price of the Steam machine? I think that they will. I do think that they would. Will Sony ever lower the price of the PlayStation 5? I think that that's a harder play to call. You know what I mean? I think that Sony might lower the price of the PlayStation 5 if the Rampocalypse was over tomorrow. I think that is a possibility. But if you were to say, that game that we play sometimes on the podcast where I say, place your bets, and you guys give me two options, and we say which thing that we think is more likely to happen. If we did a place your bets, that the Rampocalypse is over tomorrow, who would be more likely to lower the price of their hardware? Xbox, PlayStation, or Valve? I would say Valve is probably more likely to lower the price of their hardware. I wouldn't say it's an impossibility for the other two, but I definitely think it's more likely that that Valve would lower that price. And I've mentioned the Rampocalypse about 1,000 times this episode, this live stream. So I just want to put this on screen for you guys right now. If you have not checked out my Parody merch store, I've got some really cool shirts that you can buy. They also have like towels and stuff, or I don't know, prints that you can put on your wall. But we've got like the Ramageddon shirt. It shows a bunch of RAM chips that are falling apart. Let me go back one. We've got Schrodinger's console. Contains a PC, contains a console, contents unknown until observed. And then this is probably my favorite one right here. This one is called He Doesn't Like You. I kind of did like a Star Wars meets Portal kind of thing, where these are the two guys in the cantina that bother Luke, and then this is Luke right here. I love this shirt. If you guys want to check that out, there's links in the description down below. Let's get back to all of the things that you guys have been saying to us. Question the truth. I propose people start a Steam boycott for not having humane prices. Whoops, it disappeared on me. Where did it go? It's not going to be 50 million people buying them and then install Windows and never buy games, assholes. Okay. I mean, it's not Valve's fault that things are expensive. Things are expensive. You want to be mad at somebody? Be mad at OpenAI. Be mad at Microsoft. Be mad at Claude. Be mad at all these companies who are making these data centers and buying up all of the RAM so that you can't. Let's see. We got a comment in from Makoto. They said Valve said they will allow SteamOS 3.8 to install on custom-built PCs. Will you install it on your Bazite PC? I think that I probably will. Right now, I don't feel like I need to, but I don't see why I wouldn't. It'd definitely be worth making a video about, like, how is this different from Bazite? Spoilers, not much different at all. Although there have been some weird bugs that I run into every once in a while, and I'd be lying if I didn't say in the back of my head, I'm wondering, is this because I'm running Bazite instead of SteamOS? And I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But that's an interesting thought. So thank you so much for the super chat. And why can I not see any of the super chats anymore? Let me refresh this page. Viewer activity. Oh, there we go. And we got Kodiak Moonwolf, who this must have. Oh, there it is. They've been a member for 70 months. They said, good to see you as always, Bill. Coda, how's it going? Good to see you again, my friend. Just Gamer Chat says, let me see if I can find it. They renewed their membership and they said, then for whom the Steam Machine is for? I think that the Steam Machine is for a couple of different groups of people. People who bought a Steam Deck and they like, I really like this thing. I would like to play games on my TV, but at a little higher resolution. I think that's who this is for. It's for people who already have a PC and a large catalog of Steam games and they want to play it on their TV. I think it's for people that just really like people who are big into Valve stuff. I think that that's another group of people and that's perfectly fine. Listen, if you are a big fan of what Valve does and you want to support them, then go nuts. That's not why I bought like, if you're wondering why did I buy the Steam Deck? It had nothing to do with my thinking that Valve is a good company. I bought the Steam Deck because it met it was ticking the boxes that I was looking for. And that's the people who are going to buy the Steam machine. It's people who have a checklist of boxes and they're like, let's see which boxes we can tick. And then when they tick those boxes, hey, it ticks enough of those boxes, I'm going to buy it. All right. Hit and Run 9000. They said that the Steam Machine is for people who have too much money, who want an easy setup on a TV. And you know what? There's a lot of people that want to play PC games that do not want to buy a PC. Or I'm sorry, they do not want to build a PC. And I completely get that. I built my first PC in years and years and years last year. I hadn't built a PC in probably, I'm going to say like 10 years. And I was like, oh, I'm going to build a new PC. And it's the one that I built last year. That's my current Steam machine. Not everybody wants to go through that. It's a pain in the ass. Maybe you do it every day, but there's people who just want to sit down and play games and they don't want to have to think about it. They don't want to have to worry about it. And they keep hearing how there's all these really good sales that are on Steam all the time. How there's no subscription. And you know what? Maybe if I buy this box, I plug it into my TV and I start playing games on it, that'll be my new way to play. And that's a perfectly valid thing to say. All right. We got a super chat in from Elegante Ego. They said, in the grand scheme of things, prices this high. Prices being high, this device is priced fairly. I agree with that. I also think it's too expensive for me to buy, but I do think it's a fair price. Many Steam users use a PC weaker than the PC that they paid $1,000 to $800 for when they bought a gaming laptop or a pre-built. Yeah, I would say that this is right in line with any other pre-built out there. Absolutely. I agree with you. I think that's a really good point. This Hit and Run 9000 said Steam Deck met all of my criteria for being a portable. Yeah, that's same for me. All right. Goodness. Why can I not scroll? Well, there we go. Elegante Ego says the Steam Machine is stronger than many RTX 5050 to 5060 laptops at $1,000, so it's still very good, just overpriced. I mean, I think that's the thing. I think everything is overpriced right now. There is nothing that is priced fairly. There's nothing that is, I don't want to say fairly. There's nothing that is priced at a level that I am happy about, if that makes sense. But I also understand why they're priced that way. Anonymous for Life says, buy a Switch 2 and 10-year online subscription instead, and it will still have few hundreds left over. While that is true, games on the Switch 2, they're running pretty good. I'm impressed with the Switch 2. I don't use it as much because they don't have as many exclusive games that I can't play someplace else. But the games that are on the Switch 2, they're running pretty good, you know. However, I don't know. Like, I think over time, if you bought a Switch 2, I don't see anything wrong with what you're saying, but I also wouldn't recommend, if you wanted to get a Steam machine, that's not a portable system. So why get a Switch 2? I think you're better off getting a PlayStation in that case. But that's just me. David Line Esquire, I'm assuming, says in Linus's video, they said Valve hinted at the difference between planned launch and the price is about the same as the recent Steam Deck price increase. Oh, okay. Let's check and see what is the recent. Let me get this off screen. Thank you very much, David, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Let's go to Steam. I'm going to go to Steam Deck. So the previous was, we'll say $650, and it went up $300. So if I take $300 off of the price of the Steam machine, that brings it down to $750, which I will point out is what I guessed it would be, though just to be completely clear, I guessed that it would be $750 after the price increase, because I thought it was going to be like a $600 machine, but it went up a lot more than that. So $750 was my guess. And I don't know. I think that $750, this thing would sell very well. I think that Valve is still going to sell out. I think that they're not going to have any left on store shelves. They're going to be running into the same problem that we ran into with the Steam controller, because people that have the money and can't afford it, they're going to want to buy this thing, especially because it's going to be hard to get. And they're that FOMO is going to make them say, I'm going to go ahead and buy this when maybe I should hold off and think about it. And they're going to make that decision quick in the moment. You know what I mean? The Survivor says, Switch 2 is all about the portability. Doesn't matter if the quality of the image is not the best. Just the fact of going around while playing AAA games on it is worth it. The Steam machine was born dead. Well, okay, I agree with you for the most part, except for that last statement is a ridiculous statement. I don't agree with that at all. And if you want to know why, rewind a little bit. I already talked about that. And you're right. The fact that the image quality isn't great on the Switch 2, not a huge deal, because it's such a small and portable device. But I wouldn't compare the Switch 2 to the Steam machine, because the Switch 2 is a portable device and the Steam machine is not a portable device. Luis Montes sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. They said, any idea why they're not absolutely cranking out controllers? Not much RAM or SSD required for those. Still haven't been able to get one. So here's what I would say is they're also manufacturing we talked about this on the podcast on Saturday's episode. So make sure that you check that out if you haven't already. If you think about it, Valve currently is manufacturing a Steam machine, a Steam controller, and the Steam frame. And so they're probably already at the maximum amount that they can make. You know what I mean? That's my guess. I don't have any inside information on that. I think that that's the reason why. Also, at the same time, you know, right here, Mario, did I just become from Brooklyn or something? Mario's 2975 says, I feel the same. There's so much demand. We don't actually know what the demand is. All we know is that according to Valve, the demand exceeded what they thought it was going to be, right? So I'm not sure about that. Scrolling through chat. Breaking Berta says, hey chat, you could also use this to stream from your PC the very demanding games. No? Yeah, you absolutely could. But you could also just do that with a Steam Deck. So if you already had a Steam Deck, then you could do that. Let's see what else. Just scrolling through, seeing your comments. Again, if you guys use the super chat feature, it makes it easy for me to find your comments. I'm trying to read stuff, but it keeps moving as I'm reading it, and it's hard to follow everything. I just really want to check something. Holy shit. Guys, there's 1,000 people here. That is insane to me that 1,000 people showed up. If you guys want me to do these live streams more often, make sure that you click on that like button because it really does help. In fact, if everybody right now just clicked on that like button all at once, we'd get that like spike and maybe it would be shown to more people. All right. Oh, Magma. They said, I really do wish Valve would put their hardware in retail stores like the other 3 hardware makers, to be honest. Though with the RAM issues, I don't even think that's possible. Even without that, I don't know. And I agree. Okay, so let's just put all of the RAM issues aside and just pretend that the RAM is not an issue right now. Yes, I personally think that if Valve wants to compete in the living room space, they need to have their device in stores. If it's not in stores, then most people aren't going to be aware of it. But if it is in stores, you're going to get parents and grandparents like me who are looking for a present for, you know, Johnny or Sally, and they're going to be like, oh, here's this thing. Well, I'll buy this for them. I know that they like to play video games. And then they're going to be able to play a bunch of games, you know? So I do think that it should be in stores. Kodiak Moonwolf says, oh, he's just saying that there's over 1,000. That's right. I used to play Guild Wars 2 on Twitch, and I would stream for like 10 people, and I thought I had made it. You guys are awesome. Hey, Kodiak. All right, we got a $10 super chat came in from Alexandros R. They said, so how many devices and subscriptions people can afford this day? A phone, tablet, a laptop, PC, a handheld, and one more device for that specific purpose? Hard this days. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It is a lot of different places that are trying to pull money out of our wallets, which is one of the reasons that I like PC gaming, because no subscription is required. Like, I currently subscribe to PSN. I kind of don't like to, but I do so that I can play certain games online. I don't subscribe to Game Pass, but that's only because Game Pass raised their price. And then, see you, buddy. Are you going to work? All right, have fun. I said have fun to my son as he's on his way to work, as if he'll have fun at work. What was I saying? Oh, shit, I can't remember what I was going. Oh, let me reread this. I can't remember what the hell was that? I can't remember what I was saying. But yeah, it sucks having all of these very, very expensive subscriptions. Oh, that's one of the things I like about playing on PC is I don't have a subscription. I canceled my Game Pass subscription because they raised the price, and then I just didn't feel like going back to it. I recently re-upped my Nintendo subscription because my family uses it all the time. So my grandson was over. He wanted to play Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion is easiest to play with a GameCube controller on the Nintendo Switch too. So I resubscribed so that he could play that. And, you know, I agree. Less subscriptions is better. We got another super chat coming in from Gabe Probre BR. They said, if it was available in Brazil, I'd try buying it. But to this day, even Steam Deck is not officially sold here, so I made my own last year. Yeah, that makes sense. Make your own if you have to. J Reds 79 says, by my last comment, I mean when the Steam Deck came out, Gabe talked about how the price was painful. That led us as Valve supporters to expect a price of the Steam machine to be below 1K. Here's what I have to say about that. Let me close this. Here's what I have to say about that. A problem that many people who are fans of an industry will do, like gaming fans will do this, movie fans will do this. They will have expectations, and when those expectations, which were never communicated by the company that they're expecting this from, when those expectations fail to come true, they then get mad at the company that never actually said the thing that they were expecting. So here's what I mean about that. And I'm going to use movies as an example. And I'm just making this up, okay? If you have not seen trailers for the newest Spider-Man movie, maybe plug your ears for the next minute and a half, okay? In the most recent Spider-Man trailer, we get to see Hulk out, right? And there's a frame or two where Hulk looks kind of gray. So I've seen a lot of speculation online that people are saying, okay, we're going to see gray Hulk in this movie. But then they'll allow their speculation to become expectation. And when that happens, they're almost inevitably disappointed. I expect this, or I'm hoping for this, so then I expect this. They didn't deliver on this thing that they never said, where maybe Hulk looks a little gray because there's a little less light, and color needs light. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe he's in a shadow. I don't freaking know. But whatever the reason is, people allow speculation to become expectation. That is always, always, always a huge mistake. But thank you very much for the super chat. That's not the super chat I was looking for. Where is it? Oh. Did I already do this one? I thought I already did this one. I felt like I already talked about this one. But yes, thank you very much, Alexandros, for the $10 super chat. It's very generous of you. And thank you to everybody who's sending in super chats. It's really nice of you guys to do that. Yeah, he gets to work. He goes to work now, Kodiak. He's graduating high school this weekend. Louis R77 sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. They just said, Bill, I'm a big fan of NerdNest and the nice man cave. So funny story about this. Okay. So when we built this studio, so I used to do my podcast from my wife's sewing room, right? And I would hang a green screen behind me to hide all of her sewing knickknacks. And I would do my podcast down there. And then I joined well, that's beside the point. I ended up having enough money that I could build this studio, not from the podcast, just from an extra job that I took on. And that money, we built this studio and our bedroom across the hall and bathroom up here. And my wife was talking about it with somebody, and she was like, oh, a man cave, right? And my wife said accurately, he doesn't do anything manly in there, because I'm playing video games up here, you know? I'm playing video games and talking about video games. I don't do manly things in this room. So her friend called it the NerdNest because I'm doing nerdy things and it's up high because it's in an attic. And that's where the name NerdNest came from, because man cave is not what this room is. But thank you so much for the super chat and the support. There was another blue super chat that I saw. I can't find it. Okay, here's one from David B. It's not going to show up on screen though. But it says, not this. It says, how much is a Steam Machine equivalent of a PC new? How much is a Steam Machine equivalent PC new? So if I were to build a PC today, I couldn't answer that question off the top of my head, but I would anticipate, and by the way, thank you to David B for sending in the super chat. I would anticipate that a pre-made PC that could do what the Steam Machine does would probably sell for about what the Steam Machine is selling for. You could build one for cheaper, but again, it's not going to be as small. It's not going to be as quiet. It's not going to be as polished. So there's that. But thank you very much, David B, for sending in that super chat. We got another. Nope, I already talked about that one. Okay. And we got another $10 super chat coming from Ito Kairu. They said, wasn't going for the Steam Machine anyway, hoping to see what frame will be soon. Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of people that we were thinking that the Steam Machine and the frame were going to come at the same time. Turns out it's not. So we were going to have to wait to see when the Steam frame comes out. And my fingers are crossed that my fingers are very, if I can cross all of my fingers, if I could, my fingers are crossed that the Steam frame comes out and it comes with Half-Life 3. And Half-Life 3 is also playable on a flat screen. But thank you so much for the support, Ito. It's very generous of you. Where this other one goes, Stormbringer sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. They said, drop the PS sub and we'll drop Xbox sub soon. Plan on buying a Steam Machine. It stings, but I really want to support Valve over these other corpos. The only thing that I would say in response to that is Valve is also a corporation. The one difference between them is that they don't have stockholders. Well, they don't have public shareholders. You know what I mean? And because they don't have public shareholders, they have more wiggle room to make things happen. And that is a very important thing that makes Valve able to do things that other companies cannot. Whereas when the Steam Deck first came out and the Steam Deck was $400 and you looked at every other handheld PC out there that was way more than $400, I think that shareholders would have really complained about that to Valve, and maybe they wouldn't have done it because of that. But because shareholders aren't part of the picture, they're able to do things that other companies can't. But thank you so much, Stormbringer. Let's see what else. We got another. Did I get this one yet? I got that one. And I got this one. Nope, that's just a reply. Here we go. Bearded Husband. Hey, I'm a bearded husband. Send in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. They said, already got a high-end PC, not buying for performance. I'm just buying it because it's the closest to a purpose-built Moonlight Steam console with 4K 120 HDR VRR controller wake, CEC, truly couch-friendly. And, I made a video, I'm not sure how long ago, but I made a video about this, that the numbers don't tell the whole story when it comes to the Steam Machine. There's all these other non-number things that make it something that somebody might want to have in their house, in their living room. The idea that it has CEC, when you hit the controller, it turns it on, and then it turns on your TV and it turns on your sound system. The fact that it has HDR and VRR just natively, like how Valve and AMD were able to overcome the bullshit from the HDMI forum is awesome that they were able to do that. So yeah, I can completely get behind that. But thank you. And yeah, Kodiak Moonwolf says if somebody wants to buy something and they can afford it, there's nothing wrong with them buying it. I just want to buy the machine, but I can't justify the cost currently. I am with you. I am with you, Matt. Absolutely with you on that. Louis R77 says, I love everything about the Steam machine except the specs. If they make one, a high-end one, I would be all over that. Well, okay, Louis, would you want it? I mean, obviously you wouldn't want it to be more expensive, but if they made a high-end one, it'd be a lot more expensive. You know what I mean? But I'm with you. I like everything about the Steam machine except for its price. Heisenthal sends in a $10 super chat. They said, I would like to the complete Steam frame bundle with both controllers, but I hope they sell them all individually to mitigate the sticker shock if the frame reaches Steam machine levels of pricing. I don't see them selling a Steam frame without the controllers as well. Like you got to have the controllers to do the VR stuff. I'm sure you could just use a regular controller with it and sit there and play games on an imaginary big screen. But that isn't really what people are buying it for, in my opinion. But thank you, Heisenthal, for the support. I really do appreciate you. Louis R77 says, yeah, I want something like the Helix. And, you know, if we go back in time to when the Helix information leaked by, my brain stopped working. It doesn't matter. But when that first information came out, I think that a lot of people really, really wanted, like when you see what Helix can supposedly do, and then it was rumored to be $1,000. $1,000 is very expensive, but when you compare that to what a PC that $1,000 PC regularly can do, Helix blows it out of the water, which is why everybody's excited about Helix. Although I still think that they need to delay Helix. Oh, what is happening on my screen? Okay, I've never seen this before. A bus is blocking the goal. What the hell was that? You guys can't see that. Or maybe you can't. Can you guys see that in chat? The bus going across and blocking the goal? That was hilarious. Whoever sent that in, that was funny. Oh. Wait. Can I put it on screen? Oh, that's all it shows? There you go. Park the bus. Which all I can think of is Ted Lasso. Which, by the way, let me heart that and then clear. There we go. New season of Ted Lasso is coming out, and I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. Oh, you guys saw it in chat too? Awesome. The Shepherd 22 says, what is Helix exactly? So Project Helix is Microsoft's next console. It is essentially a PC, right? But it plays Xbox games, and it apparently also plays Steam games. Now, why people are excited about it is because the power that was leaked by Moore's Law is Dead, friend of the show. He's been on the podcast before. The information about Helix that was leaked by Moore's Law is Dead basically said it's a very, very powerful machine. But the price was going to be at about $1,000, which for that price was very, very good. So I think that that's why people are excited about Helix. Although I still think that Helix and PS5 should be delayed. Bad News Bill, always here to deliver his bad news. That's me. That's what they call me. Darth Monkey says Helix will be my couch console. I mean, if it costs $1,000 and it has the performance that we've seen rumored, it's going to be a monster. We'll see if that actually happens, though. Roadhouse85 just sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for the generosity. They said, do you think Xbox has still put the Steam app on Helix now that Valve is a direct living room competitor? I don't know. That's a really tough one. If Phil hadn't left and Asha hadn't taken over, I would have said probably yes. But you know, they've been walking back the idea of exclusive, trying to get more exclusives, and basically saying they wanted to revisit stuff. I don't know if it'll still have the Steam app. Here's the thing, though: if it doesn't, I'm not interested. Like, the reason I'm interested in Project Helix is because the price to power ratio is a really good ratio, and it allows me to play Steam games. If I can't play Steam games on it, then it ain't worth it to me. And you know what? Technoghoul is 100% correct. In the living room, Valve is not a competitor. Not anywhere close to being a competitor. That doesn't mean that Microsoft wouldn't and PlayStation wouldn't look at them and say, you know what? I don't want my games on that platform on a TV because I want to be able to control how my game plays on a TV. I can understand that. But yes, Technoghoul is correct. Valve is not a competitor in the living room. All right. Bjorn Rhodes sent in a super chat. I don't know what it's from, but thank you very much. What SEK is, but it says, VR for me is fun. Windows XR was removed in Windows 11 though. Got me an HP headset as an ornament using MetaQuest 3 for Steam and virtual desktops now. Steam Frame will be fun to test, even if it has black and white pass-through. Though apparently you can get a module that hooks into the headset that will give it color pass-through. It just doesn't come like that by default because that allowed them to save price for people who don't care about that. But thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. Is it just me or is his voice out of sync with the video? I hope not. Oh, SEK is Sweden. Okay. Is my voice out of sync? Can you guys please tell me? I've been streaming for... How long have I been streaming for? This is the first I've seen of it. I can't find it anywhere. An hour 20. Okay, audio is fine. Okay, thank you. Oh, wait, others are saying it's out of sync. Let me go into my advanced audio properties. I'm not going to mess with it right now. It's pretty close here. No issue. It's not that bad. All right. Thank you, guys. I am you are stinking fine. That's funny. Is it me or is it seems like a very good time to enjoy retro classic on emulators and read some books? I agree with that. In fact, where is it? This came in today. I'm going to be making a video about it at some point. It is the SN operator. You can plug this into your computer, Linux, Mac, Windows. I'm not sure about Mac, but definitely Linux and Windows. And this is, I bought this. This is not a review unit. Like I paid money for this because I'm a huge fan of what they're doing here. It lets you play Super Nintendo games on your computer, like on your Steam Deck. You can even rip them right from there, which is awesome. So I'm very excited for that. We got another super chat came in. Thank you so much from 5281. Sent in a $5 super chat, and they said, at this price, it's a hard pass for me. Tech is weak too and cannot be justified. I will stick with my 5090 and PS5 Pro. This is a joke. I mean, Okay, 5281, I have a question for you. Do you feel like it's Valve's fault that the price is so high? I'm just curious. So let me know what you think. But thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. The price isn't killing the Steam machine. The price is killing your interest in the Steam machine and my interest in the Steam machine. But there's still going to be plenty of people who want to buy it. And I bet you it's going to sell out. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be cool. At NerdNest, hope Valve makes a cheaper streaming only version of the Steam frame. I mean, it would still have to have like onboard a chip in order to decode the stream when it got to you. It already scrolled by, so I can't click. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Valve rolled a nat 1 on announcement timing. You are not wrong about that. Just so everybody knows, there's a poll running in chat. Currently has about 1,700, no, almost 1,800 votes. Will you buy a Steam machine at 1,050? 30% say yes, 70% say no. That 30-70 has been a fairly even, like not even split, has been a fairly stable split so far. But vote in that. Falling for You says, looking forward to the NerdNest podcast panel's opinion on price if they're still buying one. Jimmy on Deck Ready said he's going for the 2 terabyte one. Good for Jimmy, man. I can't justify that because I already have a system that's more powerful than it. I know he does too. But that's expensive. Magma says, not gonna lie, I'm a bit surprised Valve hasn't partnered with people from sites like SteamGrid DB and the likes to make Decky not as needed, since it is at the moment for stuff like that. Yeah, so on the last episode of the podcast, I talked about the fact that I've been playing Seventh Heaven. And for those of you that don't know, Seventh Heaven is a mod manager for Final Fantasy VII, not remake, the original, that allows you to do a bunch of cool stuff, you know? And every time I go to boot it up, because I don't have I can't think of what the word is, because I don't have Decky installed on my system. It's just a gray box, and I hate how it looks. And I know you don't have to use Decky in order to fix it. I just haven't bothered to fix it yet. I can't read this. V Suarez ZP, thank you so much for becoming a standard nerd. I appreciate you. Let me go back into, we got a super chat that just came in from Lil Javi. Says the Steam machine isn't expensive. It's being oppressed by supply chains, inflations, and the patriarchy. I don't know what you mean about the patriarchy, but it is being screwed by supply chains and inflation and the tariffs and the war and AI all together. So yes, all of those things together are screwing over Valve's launch, but it is also expensive. Two things can be true at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Whoops. Sugar. Let me clear. Hold on. I got to text my wife real quick because she's calling me and I am on a live stream. Well, let me answer her. Hold on. Hello. I'm on a live stream right now. I know. I never told you. I just letting you know. Bye. I love you. I'm back. All right. So, oh God, D-Brand's video. If you guys have not seen D-Brand's video for, let me show you guys. for this. Dbrand made a companion cube that wraps around the Steam Deck, and it's heavy. I haven't opened it yet. I'm waiting until the Steam Machine, or not Steam Deck, Steam Machine. I'm waiting until the Steam Machine gets here. But I got one. Dbrand sent it to me. But the video that they made to show it off was unbelievably good. Incredibly well done. Incredibly well done. If you have not seen this video yet, make sure that you check it out because it's great. Put these back. Okay. But thank you so much, Torgavadur. I don't know how to say your name. We'll just say Tor2. Thank you so much for the support. Bearded Husband sent in a super chat, and they said, next up, Steam Machine 2, now with more Steam, $4,000. I don't think that they're going to be making a second one anytime soon. I think it's going to be a really long time before we see that. And we got another super chat came in from Jabara. It says $1,400 for a Steam machine that plays 1440p games, like a $400 Series S, is insanity. $1,050 for an anemic SSD and no controller is just plain evil. Great Steam. It's not evil. They're painted into a corner by AI. If you don't like these prices, stop using AI. That's like, if the AI companies suddenly aren't able to bring in any money because nobody's using it, then maybe the AI bubble will pop and prices will go back to normal and we can all buy things instead of renting them. But I don't blame Valve for this. It's not their fault. But thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. The companion cube is heavy. It's thick. You know what, James? You are not wrong. Technically, this is the second one. And Dryden sends in a super chat just to say thanks, I guess. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Why do they get a pass? Why does Valve get a pass? Because Valve didn't raise the prices. AI raised the prices. The war in Iran raised the prices. So, tariffs raised the prices. If you don't like these prices, don't buy it, and eventually they will be forced to lower prices. They can't lower the prices, though. The prices are already as low as they can get because the chips are so expensive. Jabara says AI affects other consoles, but they are not $1,400. You're right. But they also sell way more consoles, so they can make much bigger purchasing orders, and that drives the price down for them. If Valve wants to buy the same stick of RAM that goes into the Steam machine that goes into a PS5, Valve will have to pay more because they don't buy as much. But thank you for the support. And sometimes those companies subsidize the price, although they have both said recently that they don't. Sometimes they subsidize the price. Valve says that they don't want to subsidize the price because they don't know if people are going to buy this and then buy Steam games on it. They might just buy it and use it in like an office because you can do that. Should I get a Steam machine? I do not have a PC, but a gaming laptop, Acer Nitro, would it be worth it? Well, I can't say if it would be worth it or not, but, you know, it depends on your financial situation and if you can't afford it. But you could build something cheaper. It just wouldn't look as nice. It wouldn't be as quiet and it wouldn't be as polished. and it wouldn't be as small. So that's my response to that. Kodiak Moonwolf says, a call from Mrs. RJS on stream. Old style stream. That's right. Old style. Thanks for the support, Matt. Dryden sends in a $2 super chat. They said, just using Steam Deck and Steam Controller on my TV. Yeah, that's going to be fine for most people, honestly. Unless you're playing the latest and greatest games, you're going to be okay like that. But thank you for the support. And you know what? I saw people talking about gaming laptops. I agree with this. Don't pretend gaming laptops are good for all devices. I agree with this statement because, first off, a gaming laptop could be great, but you always got to plug it in, or just like they're not efficient chips, and it drains the battery super fast. So I'm not a huge fan of that. The other reason I'm not a huge fan of it is for the people who, like, the reason that you get a Steam machine is because you want something to hook up to the TV, right? Something that you want to plug into the TV and just leave plugged into the TV. Leaving a laptop plugged in all the time is a freaking terrible idea. My friend Bob Wolf, he has an arcade cabinet. I have an arcade cabinet too. He has an arcade cabinet that he had an old handheld in. And he had the arcade cabinet powered by the old handheld. And what happened after a certain amount of time, I don't remember how long, the battery started swelling, which is a fire hazard. And that's because it was plugged in all the time. You do not want to leave these things plugged in all the time. I got another super chat that came in from 60 FPS. They said, because we can transplant the SSD from our neglected PS5, Steam Machine can reduce wear and tear on our only other half-decent PC, the deck, which we dock a lot. Okay, that's cool. That's definitely cool. But thank you very much for the support. We got another one in. 5281 says, I work for Dell, and their commercial sales, of memory storage and AI infrastructure sales, you should see the price increases over here. It's worse. Oh, I'm sure that the prices are ridiculous everywhere. And Valve is not immune to that. And everybody who says that Valve is evil because of the price of the Steam machine, I think those are people who are, I don't know, delusional. And if that's you and you get mad at me for saying that, hey, we're allowed to disagree on things. If we agreed on every single thing that was said, the internet would be a boring place. Blue Destron says, would have been better to hold off the release date until Q4 and hope for better RAM prices. Agree or no? I'm going to say no to that. And here's the reason why. Since they announced it, every single day, the parts in the Steam machine are getting weaker compared to new parts. So the longer that you wait, the weaker it seems. And by all accounts, the ridiculous price issues are not going away anytime soon. Microsoft has said that they anticipate it's going to be for the next 2 to 2.5 years. So no amount of delaying the Steam machine, which already had specs that we knew, would work. When it comes to PlayStation 6 and Project Helix, we don't know, and I'm using air quotes for anybody who's not looking at the screen right now, we don't know how the specs of those systems. We've seen leaks, but we don't know them. So they could delay those and just, go back to the drawing board and make something new instead. But Blue Destron, thank you so much for the support. And it looks like JRed79 just sent in a $5 super chat just because. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Darth Monkey 28 says, no one is saying that they're evil. We're crying out loud, man. Scroll up in chat. There's a lot of people saying that they're evil. But let me read what the rest of you are saying. We're saying keep that same energy when you bash Xbox, Microsoft, or any other company you are not fond of. I don't bash companies. I say when they do bad things, and I say when they do good things. When Sony does bad things, I say so. When Sony does good things, I say so. Both things can be true at the same time. You would not believe how many times I have been called an Xbox shill, a Sony shill, an Xbox hater, and a Sony hater. And that's just because if you happen, not you in particular, but if someone happens to disagree with me in the moment, they call me those things. And I do have that same energy. It's just ridiculous to call them evil, which is exactly what was said in chat. Scroll up, my friend. See another super chat coming in. This is from Ellen, I'll say. They said that the Steam machine will not get Valve into the living room, and it's now failed twice. Time for Valve to cut a deal with Microsoft and share the revenue for Steam games sold on Helix would be a win for both companies. Yeah, but the thing is the whole point that Valve is trying to make with their hardware is getting away from closed systems and moving towards open systems instead. And that's why everything that Valve does is open. You know, they use open source. But would I, and I don't disagree that the Steam machine will not get Valve into the living room. I don't know if Valve really cares if they can compete with PlayStation and Microsoft in the living room. This is a device that Valve is making because they want to let people who let their current customers play games in the living room without having to go buy a different device. Steam machine looks fun, but who are you rooting for in the World Cup? I don't know who's in the World Cup. I only watch fake soccer. Ted Lasso specifically. Helix is going to eat Steam machine's lunch. It depends on the price. But again, you're thinking of a comparison of two things that are not competing with each other. Yes, they both do the same things, but they are not direct competitors, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the, oops, where'd it go? I can't find it. All right, I can't find it. This chat is scrolling too fast with it, with 850 people here. V Suarez P says, any thoughts on game demos for Next Fest? I tried a few. Iron Nest is awesome. Check out ASRock Desk Meet Mini PC AIO. You could make your DIY Steam machine. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I will say make sure that you check out Over the Hill. That game is going to be awesome. That game is really cool. And it's a free demo right now. Or it was a free demo. I don't know if it still is. Oh, we just got another super chat came in from Tor2. They said Valve supports the deck and make it better for gamers. Devs noticed the Steam Deck and they support it. That's the reason why I threw my hat in the lottery to be a clear D-Brand teased Half-Life 3. Yes, D-Brand teased Half-Life 3, but not really. They're just making jokes over there, but it was a really freaking good joke. Phenomenal Name sent us a $5 super chat. Thank you to both you and Tor2 for the generosity. They said, too bad Valve couldn't just take a loss on it because it's a generic machine, so it could be scalped and repurposed. Yeah, people could buy a Steam machine, and I guess they actually said this to Linus Tech Tips, but they said people could just buy this thing and then put it in schools for, you know, as a device to type papers on. You know what I mean? Maybe you could buy them you could buy 1,000 of them as a business and use them for business stuff and never make it, and Valve would never make any money off that other than the initial sale. But thank you so much. All right, scrolling down, we got, oh my gosh, the super chats just keep coming in. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Neffy Bear sent in a $5 super chat. They said, coincidental that Steam Machine is 70. Oh, message retracted. It disappeared. Oh, I can still see it. 70% more powerful than what most people are using, yet 70% of people in this chat are unwilling to upgrade. Well, maybe to them it's not an upgrade. I mean, the people who watch my show probably have a pretty decent rig at home because they're PC gamers already. So maybe that's just not interesting to them, or maybe it's just too expensive. You know, it is a fair price. No, it's not a fair price. It is a reasonable price, but it is not it is still too expensive in my opinion for me. But thank you so much for the super chat. Oh my God, it's scrolling by. I can't keep up with chat. Ellen sends in, Valve did not try to get into the living room a second time just to give Steam users a more convenient way to play games. That's cope. Okay. I'm gonna read the rest of your statement, then I'm gonna say something that I think is really important here. They want and need to expand the addressable market. Time to call Microsoft. All right, so number one, I don't think so. When you look at how many consoles might get sold, like if I look up right now, how many PS5s sold so far? 93 million. 93 million. Okay. Valve is not going to make 93 million Steam Decks. They're not going to sell 93 million Steam Decks. They might sell a few million. That is not a direct competitor. They're not really directly competing in the living room. That's not a thing. It's not cope to say that. They are not competing at the same level. It's different markets. It's different customers. Okay. The second thing, they wanted and need to expand the addressable market. Absolutely. Everybody does. Everybody needs to expand the addressable market. But I don't think that the Steam machine is going to expand the addressable market for Valve in a meaningful way. That's just my opinion. And that's not because of the price. It's just because of what it is. Bjorn Rhodes sent in a super chat. They said, thank you very much for the super chat. And thank you to Ellen for the super chat as well. They said, Microsoft is currently complaining that Xbox is too expensive and building out data centers for AI at the same time. Yes, they are, because they think that, so they looked at what Google did. Google got into search early and they basically nailed it, right? I mean, they screwed it up since then, but they got into search early. They were the first ones there, essentially, that did it right, okay? And that gave them so much power. So all of these big companies that have the money to do these kind of things, they are also trying to get into AI as fast and as quick as they can. If it takes off, then it's going to pay off for them in a big, big way. And those are dollar signs that there's just too big of a bag of dollar signs for them to say, maybe we just wait it out. So I understand that, even though I think that they should get rid of AI altogether. But that's not something that companies are going to do. That's something that you need governments to do, to just say, we're not doing this. We're going to do things the old-fashioned way instead. And I am not a Luddite, but AI is bad. Perez MP sent in a $5 super chat. They said, do you think the Steam frame will be cheaper or more expensive than the Steam machine? Well, when Valve first announced the Steam frame, they said it was going to be cheaper than Valve Index. I don't think that's true anymore. My guess is it's going to be more than the Steam machine. I think it's going to be more than the Steam machine. And man, does that suck. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that price because I don't know much about VR. So he is arguing that Valve should just give up on the living room. Okay, not too defeatist. No, I didn't say that. I just say that they don't care about the living room the way that you think that they do, or the way that others think that they do. I don't think that success to Valve looks different than it does to other companies because A, they don't have shareholders or public shareholders, and B, if a billion of the Steam machines doesn't sell, if they only sell one Steam machine, then games are still going to come to that system because it's just playing PC games. All right. So I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to be stopping the stream soon. And so if you guys are going to send in super chats and you want me to talk about that stuff, you're going to want to do it now, because pretty soon I'm going to shut the stream down. But let's go back to the poll that I posted, which now has 2,000 votes on it. Will you buy a Steam machine at 1,050? 30% says yes. 70% says no. I'm going to end that poll right there. Those are our final numbers for that poll. Very, very interesting. Not a huge surprise, though. I think that a lot of people are going to be turned away by the price of this thing that would have bought it otherwise. And I'm one of them. I got to refresh this page again because it keeps crashing on me. Analytics, viewer. Okay, here we go. Okay, somebody sent in a super chat that I missed, and I'm trying to find it. Here we go. Justin Gray Sage sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. They said, hot take, I blame AMD for selling a GPU from 2023 to Valve. If GPU in the Steam machine was a modern GPU, the price would be fine. AMD chose data centers. I guess I don't understand. Modern GPUs are expensive too, aren't they? I think so. And my guess is the ones that Valve is buying from AMD are the ones that Valve could get cheaper. You know what I mean? But thank you for the support. I guess I'm struggling to understand, like, most of the data centers aren't AMD stuff. Most of that's NVIDIA stuff, I think. I could be wrong about that. I've been wrong before. Just ask my wife and my kids. They'll tell you I'm wrong. Yeah, JRed79, what Valve is trying to do is expand Linux, not partner with Microsoft. I agree with that. Oh my God, let them cook. I love these little things that pop up over chat. These are great. Thank you so much for it's called a gift, I guess. I don't know what it is. Heart. That's cool. Whoops, didn't mean to click that. Oh, hey there, Richard. How's it going, man? Always wrong. That's right. And old. Frostbite57 sent a super chat for $5. Thank you so much for the support. They said, I definitely need a new computer since I'm only running PC games currently on a 2013 laptop. I'm getting a 2 terabyte model, so I'm looking forward to it. Well, congrats, dude. Gentle Stone, if you have $1,000 in your pocket, do you buy a Steam machine or an Xbox Ally X? It depends on if you want portability, you really don't have a choice. If you don't want portability, then I think your mind is made up. They're two very different devices. They're used for different things. Microsoft just released their own distro of Linus. I wonder how he feels about that. Did they clone him? All right, guys, I'm putting 5 minutes left on the clock, and then we're wrapping up. We're going to wrap up at 5:30. Bjorn Rhodes sent in a super chat for 50. I think that was SEK. I forgot what that is now. Somebody said it Swedish, I think. Swedish European kroners or something. Anyway, it says, in the current climate, Steam Machine makes sense in non-technical families with old PCs that the kids have been using for a long time. I agree with that. It's still very expensive, but I agree with that. That's a perfect use case for the Steam Machine. But thank you so much for the support, Bjorn. Oh, and your name goes with the Swedish thing, so I'm thinking probably right about that. Swedish crowns. Oh, okay. I thought it was kroners. Who does kroners? I don't know. Darth Monkey disagrees with a lot I say, but they love my channel and Carrie. That's cool, man. Again, if we agreed on everything, it would be a boring place, man. I would get the Steam machine because you could use it as a PC and work on it, so you can potentially get some revenue out of it, and also you could play. But if you can only play, then an Xbox console. Germany uses kroners. Denmark. Okay. It is kroner in Sweden. Okay, thank you, Bjorn. Somebody was saying that it was crowns. But, I mean, it's dollars in the U.S., and we also say bucks, so who knows? The number of times I've been called a shill for no good reason, right there. I straight up said I would not buy this. And they're like, you shill. People hear and see what they want to see. Yeah, Sappho. I don't know enough about hardware to answer this or not. Sappho said, I think that they made one huge mistake with it. They should have given it unified RAM. The thing about that I don't know is, can you do unified RAM if you have a discrete GPU? I don't know if you can do that or not. If you can, then I agree with that. They should have given unified RAM, because then you could use, like, the 8 gigs of VRAM is a huge limitation on the Steam machine. And that's something we talked about from the very beginning. Kaiserana says, if Valve would subsidize it, it would be via store credit, not a price tag. I actually suggested that at the very beginning of the stream. And a shared pool of 24 is better than 16 and 8. Heisenthal says, NerdNest Steam machine faceplate when? I don't have a 3D printer, so I can't make something like that, but maybe someday. Who knows? Master of None Romney says they would have to do an APU to have unified. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure about that. Ramageddon faceplate's coming soon, and if you guys are not sure what he's talking about there, and you want to know more about this Ramageddon thing, we have our Ramageddon shirts, which you guys can check out right here. Link in the description down below where it says NerdNest merch. Make sure that you check that out. But everybody, thank you so much for spending the last 2 hours with me. I really do appreciate it. If you have yet to do so, please click on that subscribe button, and I hope you have an awesome day. And for everybody who's going to pick up a Steam machine, I hope you get it, and I hope it's great for you. I'm not going to get one because 1050 is just a bit too rich for my blood for a device that doesn't have the power of a computer that I already have. So I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody. Oh, hold on. One last super chat because it just came in. Most important question. Where does Gianni's goes, Heat or Celtics? I'm going to say whatever you want because I don't know anything about basketball. All right. Maybe they'll go and play on the Yankees or something. Who knows? Stay rad, everybody. Bye-bye.